What is up, everyone? Today I'm going to show you an easy light refinish technique on this dresser. Let's do it. Alright guys, you already saw I took off the hardware. Next step is getting a nice clean, vacuuming out all those dust bunnies and whatever else is in here. The technique I'm going to show you today I learned from Lisa at Ivy Lane Home. I'll link her YouTube down below. And I already cleaned the body of the dresser off camera, and now I'm just getting the drawer fronts with a degreaser. This light refinish technique is a good option when you have a piece of furniture that's in good shape. The finish maybe has very minor scratches or just looks dull, and you just want to brighten it up and refresh it a little bit. And so that's what I'm going to be doing today. The technique is based off of the General Finishes guidance on using their gel stain, and you're just gonna clean the surface really well, and then you'll scuff sand with a high grit sandpaper. And I'm doing this by hand just because this dresser has a lot of different details and raised areas. So just getting in there, doing a light scuff. You don't want to break through the finish that's currently there, so you just want to see that white powdery surf substance coming up with your sanding, and this will allow the current finish to take in a little bit of the gel stain that I'm going to use later and brighten up the wood. Guidance from General Finishes says you can use as low as 150 grit, I think, but I was wanting to be cautious, so I went with a higher grit. So because this dresser has a lot of little details and raised areas, I'm gonna go over everything with this liquid sandpaper. It just helps to etch up the surface a little bit, so I'm just doing this as a little bit of extra insurance. The directions on this say to saturate your lint-free cloth and then rub it into the surface, giving a slight pressure. So I'm going to do that all over the drawers, just to, again, make sure I'm hitting all those little details. And then moving back to sanding, I like to switch back and forth so I don't get bored with one process. So I did the drawers with sanding and the liquid sandpaper. Now moving on to the body of the dresser, I'm going to follow those same steps. Again, you're wanting to just scuff up the current top coat that's already on the piece of furniture and not break through. A mistake I made here, some areas I did break through, so I did have to touch those up at the end, but yeah, so you want to be careful. And you'll notice I'm not wearing a mask or a respirator. I don't know why I wasn't, but please take precautions, protect your lungs, and do so. And again, hitting those detailed areas with the liquid sandpaper to make sure those are etched up as well. So once you've got all your sanding done Then you're going to clean everything off with a 50-50 mixture of denatured alcohol and water. So I've already got some water in my spray bottle, and I'm just filling it up with equal amount of the denatured alcohol. This is going to help, again, get all the sanding dust off. If you touched it or whatever and you got some grease on there from your hands, then it's going to clean all that up and get everything nice and ready to accept the gel stain. I'm so glad this dresser was in good shape, because it would have been a beast to completely strip down to raw wood. So this is when this technique comes in handy for sure. Now moving on to the staining, I'm using General Finishes gel stain in the color Nutmeg. It's a nice bright brown. And you'll see, I mentioned in another video how I was used to this gel stain being so thick. It's really like pudding. It's super thick, which is nice because then it doesn't drip or get it out of hand when you're staining your furniture. You're just going to apply this like you would normally do it. Get a little bit either on your rack or spoon a little out onto the surface like I've done here, and you'll just rub it in circles across the surface and then finish up by wiping with the grain. I'm going slow here. I'm taking my time running to make sure I hit all of these little details, getting into the little corners. Make sure I get everything nice and evenly covered with the gel stain. It's a little hard to tell in this light, but I think you can see that the gel stain is really just brightening up that wood surface. So once I've applied the gel stain and gotten it on all the areas, then I'll go back here now and wiping everything clean with a fresh cloth. Again, wanting to make sure I get in all those little corners. You don't want any gel stain build up in those areas. Now I'll just continue with that same process on all of the drawers, and so enjoy. And now I'm moving on to the body of the dresser, and I'm going to apply the gel stain same way as I did on the drawer fronts, applying a circular motion, and then finish up in the direction of the grain, and then come back with a clean cloth and wipe everything back. So I'm taking my time again. It might not look like it here because I've got it, I think, 8 times. Yeah, just wanting to take your time, make sure you get in all the little areas, and then when you come back to wipe things clean, get all of that gel stain out of those little corners, so there's no buildup there. So after you get the gel stain applied to all the surfaces, now it's just a waiting game to let things dry out for 24 hours, maybe longer, depending on your weather and temperature, humidity, all that stuff. So I came back later the next day, everything was nice and dry, and I'm gonna do a top coat of oil-based polyurethane. I am using a spray can just because it's much easier. It's more expensive, but it's easier than loading oil-based in to your sprayer, and I wanted the nice rich look that oil will bring to this, so that's why I went with this route. So just doing nice even strokes, making sure to shake between every few paths. Nice thin coats. I'll come back and do a few layers of this. I think I ended up doing about 3 on all over the dresser and like 4 on the top. So yeah, just wanted to hit all the spots and do nice and even passes, and making sure not to stay in one spot for too long to get pooling, and that's hard to fix. All right, and now we're rounding the corner. A couple days later, made sure everything was nice and dry. I am now reattaching the shined up hardware, and it's looking awesome. I really need to get one of those little ball pin hammers. This was not easy to do with this huge hammer. And thank you everyone who let me know these are called escutcheons, something like that. Appreciate it. And let's look back at what we were starting with. Not too bad, just a bit dull. And here's the after. I think it turned out really nicely. You know, it's not a huge transformation by any means, but it's just refreshed. It looks sharp, clean, and gorgeous. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. See you next time.